Hi everybody, thank you for listening and watching and all that jazz. I wanted to talk a bit about light work because someone was asking me about that. And I don't want it to be confused with these light workers that are out in the world now doing light work. That I'm not part of that. When I've been talking about light work, but I don't think I use the word light work, I talk about developing your light body. The light body is about following your spiritual path, is part of the spiritual path, the soulful path, and it's where you're coming from. I've said in a previous video, do you know who you are? Know thyself, and things like that. This is a continuation of that kind of work. You've got to know what it is you believe in. What do you think is going to happen to your body or yourself after you die? What do you think the point of your life is on this earth now, at the moment? Why are you here living in this body, living this life? Do you think it's just an accident, or do you think it's just, by chance that you happen to have been born because your parents met and so they conceived you and you were born? Or do you think you were put here for a mission? Does life have a purpose? Is life fated? All these kind of questions you need to contemplate if you want to be part of doing your spiritual path work. Yet at the same time, I understand it is quite difficult to ponder upon all this, which is why I recommend a lot of the books that I've been talking about over the years on my channel, or find groups to work with, or ponder on this kind of thing, get advice, or maybe not advice, maybe not even instruction. Dibble dabble into other things to learn about them, and then decide your own path, find your path in life. I know many people want quick answers to things, and it's not that easy, because we can give you an answer to something, but then you need to go and ponder on it. And you've also got to remember that answer I've given you is my answer, my opinion, my state of mind, body, emotion. But when I talk about light bodies and higher bodies, I strongly believe in the fact that we have a higher self, and that we are an aspect on this planet, an aspect of a soul that we have. And this soul is divided up, this higher being above us, that's us, and us down here on the earth. In Egyptian times, ancient Egyptian times, they believed that when one died, there were 7 bodies for every person, 7. And that one of them bodies went to live with the gods. Another of them bodies went to live in the Elysium, no, that's Greece, Elysium fields. Anyway, so these bodies separated off, and one other body stayed here on earth like a ghost and still walked this earth. I believe your light body, if you can develop it, will help you. I'm going to come from a Cathar point of view, maybe, or the Gnostic point of view. And any of you have studied that. I've done a show called Cathar Theology, that there's a dark force and a light force. And, the dark forces are trying to subjugate the light forces and stop us returning to the divine source. If we look from Edgar Cayce's point of view about Atlantis, he talks about the sons of Belial and the sons of the One, or sons and daughters of Belial and the sons and daughters of the One. And the sons and daughters of Belial were very materialistic and had no spiritual inclinations at all. And they didn't like it that the sons and daughters of the One were promoting spiritual ways and goodness and, caring for each other and such like. So they were trying to subdue the light, put out the light. But we also have a lot of light talking religions, like the Christ is the light to attain to. So I think that when I'm talking, I believe when I'm talking about working with your light body or developing your light body, it's helping you develop a body of light, spiritual light within you, around you. Many of you know about your auras. It's developing that aura around you. And when your aura is more gets more and more developed, it becomes more attuned to the harmonies of this planet and also the disharmonies of this planet. So you can sort of become maybe clairvoyant, maybe clairvisual, maybe you can sense things more. You're more awake of what's going on because that aura around you, that light body, is aware of what's happening. Or you might be, when you suddenly, if you've got a more of a developed aura, light body, you go and see some friends and you can sense how they're feeling a bit more than you would normally do because that light body is developed around you. With the Gurdjieff point of view, he also says that we're trying to develop this light body, this Kesdjan body for our soul, so that when we do die, that Kesdjan body will be developed as our physical body deteriorates or has failed, has stopped working. Where does our consciousness go and our soul? Well, if we haven't developed a Kesdjan body, it doesn't go on to the next stage. If we haven't done this light body, the Kesdjan body, we get caught up in the reincarnation cycle and come back round again. But one of the advantages of developing your Kesdjan body in this life is that it will still work for you in this lifetime. Kind of like what I was talking about just now about the aura. It would give you a bit more, well, you would be more awake of things because it'd be sensing things for you. We want to work in the light, if that's the kind of spiritual warrior you want to be. I've said many times, be the Jedi you want to be the spiritual warrior you want to be. And I'm pretty sure that those that want to be dark, false spiritual warriors aren't watching my kind of shows because they don't want to develop the light. But hopefully you're watching this because you do want to be part of the light and you want to do the right thing and be following the harmonies and of the laws of this world and this universe. I was talking just earlier about the Cathars and the Gnostic points of view, and it's also in the various ancient Jewish mysticism that there are there's a duality. So we've got the dark and the light. And in a lot of the Gnostic texts, they believe that many of us were sent here to be the warriors, the angels of warriors that are going to dispel the darkness or teach the darkness how to not be darkness and try and bring it back to the light, because everything was from the light originally, from the one, from the divine source. When I was talking about Edgar Cayce and the sons and daughters of Belial and the sons and daughters of the one, the sons and daughters of the one believe in a divine source, consciousness that we all came from and are a part of and will go back to if we are worthy. But to be worthy, you have to be light. You know, the heavens aren't full of heavy materialistic ways. They are light heavens. That's why they're high up there. That's why hell's way down there, because it's heavy and not necessarily material. Well, it probably is materialistic, but it's dark. And when there's darkness, you know, you probably feel yourselves, if you're having a bad day and you're feeling angry, down, any kind of negative emotion, you feel weighted down. When you're happy and feeling, you know, ecstatic or whatever, you feel high, light, great, you know, you feel a higher person, like you're floating up there. I can't remember where I was going to now. I was going too far along in all different things, but trying to say the same thing, to mention that if you can develop your light body whilst you're doing this kind of spiritual work, it will really help you. Or your soul, I want to call it soul work, because we're trying to develop our souls here. Our souls are the most important thing, need to be saved. But our souls have been sent here to fight the good fight. Now, many different mystics talk about light bodies. So Gurdjieff has covered that a little bit. Steiner talks about the light body. And others, I'm sure you've read through, you know, it's in various ancient texts. And I'm trying to remember what it says in Buddhism now. It's gone from my head. But it's all about becoming the light being, is what we want to be. But then people are also saying about prolonging their life. And I wanted to do some Gurdjieff quotes here about preserving one's life. And this is from Views from the Real World, page 121. So there's a question to Gurdjieff. Is there a way of prolonging life? And Mr. Gurdjieff replies, I shall explain schematically how I understand the question. Here is a clock with a mainspring calculated for 24 hours. Clocks of other makes can go a week, a month, or even perhaps a year. The winding mechanism is always calculated for a certain definite time. As it was made by the clockmaker, so it remains. Clocks have a regulator. If it is moved, the clock can work slow or faster. If you take it off, the mainspring may unwind itself very quickly, and the spring calculated for 24 hours may run out in 3 or 4 minutes. So my clock could go a week or a month, although its system is calculated for 24 hours. We are like our clock. So what Gurdjieff's talking about here is wasting energy. And we waste so much energy on all different things. You know, we're not relaxed. You know, there's an exercise about relaxing. Just lie down or sit down and try and relax every part of your body. Because that's releasing tension, and tension steals energy. And we're trying to conserve energy so that we can live and do the work. Just continue here. So Gurdjieff's saying our system is already established. Each man has different springs. If hereditary is different, the system is different. For example, a system may be calculated for 70 years. When the mainspring runs out, the life comes to an end. Another man's mechanism may be calculated for 100 years. It is as though he were made by another craftsman. So each man has a different time of life. And I feel that way about doing spiritual work and soulful work. People go looking for, well, how did you do it? Well, each person's going to be different. We could explain, oh, I did it this way, and that's how it, you know, the results I got. But you won't necessarily get the same results, or that system or that way of getting through the system may not work for you. So you have to ponder and try on exercises and different ways of being. And one of the exercises I wanted to suggest to you, which is a Gurdjieff one, is the I am one. I've done it on other shows, but now we're going to do it, well, not together because we're not all together, but this is an exercise on visualizing the light and the light in you, and will help you develop your light body. So you either stand or sit, preferably at sunrise or just before, so that you're capturing all the light from the sun coming to you. You set your intention for the day, but you try and forget about everything. You just let all them thoughts go by, let them emotions go by. And you do an in-breath, I, but you're thinking about your solar plexus. So you're drawing that I into your solar plexus. And then you breathe out. You breathed in into the solar plexus. And as you're doing you're letting the words spring and light go up your spine and fill your body. So you do. So eyes drawing in to your solar plexus and spreading the light throughout yourself. You do it for as many times as you want. And hopefully that will help you, because you're visualizing making that light body as you're doing it. I wanted to just quickly add that Gurdjieff had an aphorism, which is, man is given a definite number of experiences, economizing, I mucked that up. Man is given a definite number of experiences, economizing them, he prolongs his life. So when I was saying earlier about trying not to waste energy, like losing your temper and things is wasting energy, but that's why we're trying to watch ourselves, look at ourselves. Why do we act like that? And the more you study yourself over time, you will start noticing your reactions, maybe even stopping reacting to certain things. and wasting energy. Worrying is wasting energy. As my friend used to say to me, worrying is like sitting in a rocking chair all day. You rock all day, but you go nowhere. And that's just like what worrying is. Worrying very rarely solves things. Oh, there's so many ways we waste energy. Using muscles when we don't have to. Maybe notice how you're sitting. You know, many people sit with their legs tapping away. Well, that's a waste of energy, but we don't realize we're doing it until we start noticing ourselves. And with these kinds of noticing, over time, we'll start noticing other things in ourselves. We'll start noticing our development. We'll also start noticing how these exercises you've been doing have made a difference, and that you're growing and becoming the spiritual warrior you want to be. And as I say in many of my shows, the best way to go and study all these things, if you can't find a Gurdjieff group or a Steiner group or a group of whatever you're into, you know, there's lots of writings out there. There's lots of other videos by other peoples. One of the other wasting of energies is that we worry thinking we're not worthy of doing this. We are worthy of doing this, and you can do this, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here watching this. So love you all and thank you. Until next time, peace and love out.